The evolution of social work, from charity to global advocacy. Social work is more than a profession, it's a movement. It's the story of people standing up for the vulnerable, pushing against oppression, and demanding justice. From humble beginnings in charity work to influencing global policies, social work has evolved into a powerhouse of change. 19th century, the birth of organized charity and settlement houses. Before social work became a profession, helping those in need was often left to religious groups, local charities, or well-meaning but unstructured efforts. However, as industrialization and urbanization led to crowded cities, poor living conditions, and rising inequality, it became clear that charity alone wasn't enough. Charity organization societies were among the first attempts to structure aid. Founded in England and the US, they emphasized scientific charity, a system of investigating individual needs to provide more efficient relief. While well-intended, COS sometimes placed moral judgment on the poor, assuming poverty was due to bad character rather than social conditions. The settlement house movement took a different approach. Instead of merely giving aid, settlement houses immersed social workers within struggling communities to understand poverty firsthand. One of the most famous examples was Hull House, founded by Jane Addams in 1889 in Chicago. Hull House wasn't just a place to get help. It was a center for education, activism, and community building. It empowered immigrants and the poor, teaching English, job skills, and advocating for labor laws. Early 20th century, social work becomes a profession. By the early 1900s, social work was no longer just charity. It was a field that required training, strategy, and ethics. The first schools of social work, recognizing the need for formal education, Columbia University established the first school of social work in 1898, setting the stage for a profession that would soon be rooted in research and practice. The rise of casework and social diagnosis. Social workers like Mary Richmond, author of Social Diagnosis, 1917, emphasized systematic methods for helping individuals. Rather than guessing what people needed, social workers began using interviews, home visits, and documentation to develop case plans, practices still in use today. Mental health and social work. The early 20th century also saw a shift in how society viewed mental illness. Influenced by Sigmund Freud's psychoanalysis, social workers began integrating mental health services into their work, advocating for better psychiatric care. Mid-20th century, the age of policy and advocacy. The mid-1900s was a time of massive social and economic upheaval, and social workers were at the front lines, shaping policies that still impact millions today. The Great Depression and the New Deal. When the economy collapsed in the 1930s, unemployment and poverty skyrocketed. Social workers helped design and implement New Deal programs, including Social Security, unemployment insurance, and public housing programs, creating the foundation for today's welfare system. The War on Poverty. In the 1960s, social work took another leap forward, advocating for policies like Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and Head Start, all aimed at breaking the cycle of poverty. In 1955, the National Association of Social Workers was founded. The NASW brought together social workers under a common set of ethics and professional standards, giving the field even more credibility and influence. Modern social work, a global and holistic approach. Today, social work is more than just helping individuals. It's about changing systems. The field has expanded into mental health, healthcare, criminal justice, education, and human rights, tackling complex social problems on a global scale. Technology and social work. With the rise of telehealth, online counseling, and digital advocacy, social work is now embracing technology to reach more people than ever before. Social work and human rights. Whether it's advocating for LGBTQ+ rights, racial justice, immigration reform, or disability rights, social workers are at the forefront of today's most pressing social movements. International social work. Across the globe, social workers are involved in refugee assistance, disaster relief, and fighting human trafficking. The field has truly become a force for worldwide change. The future of social work, where do we go from here? Social work has come a long way, from charity handouts to systemic reform, policy advocacy, and global activism. But the work is far from over. Racism, poverty, and inequality still persist. The fight for equity, mental health access, and social justice continues. And social workers, they will be right there, challenging injustice, pushing boundaries, and fighting for a better world.